Hi, I'm Sanjita. You often have this problem that you want to make chole and you forgot to soak the chana the night before. It used to be quite an issue for me, but not anymore. Today I'm going to show you how you can go from dry chana to a complete meal of pindi chole and kulcha in 3.5 hours flat. Pindi chole are what we call chatpata, tangy and spicy, but very simple to prepare. All you need is a pressure cooker or an instant pot and a small kadai or pan for tadka, a few spices, and that's it. Let's get cracking.
Here's the general flow we will follow today. I'm going to start by soaking the chickpeas. For that, we need to bring some water to boil. When it boils, I'm going to add my chana, bring it to a boil again, and continue like that for about 2 minutes. Then turn it off, cover, and let it rest for about an hour or hour and a half. In the meanwhile, I'm going to make the kulcha dough. Add the dry ingredients, flour, salt, sugar, which is optional, and the baking soda. Incidentally, this dough makes excellent bhaturas. Check out the small clip of bhaturas frying at timestamp 9:27. Add the yogurt and the oil or melted ghee. Mix until you have coarse crumbs. Add the water and make a loose dough. Knead for about 3 to 4 minutes. Let the dough rest for at least 45 minutes. We will actually be keeping it for longer. I'm going to make the kulcha last of all. Now I'm going to make the Chana Masala powder. You don't need to make it right now. You can make it ahead of time or you can use store-bought. I usually keep some on hand, but it's very easy and it only takes a couple of minutes to make it. Mostly involves mixing a bunch of dry powders. The only item that is not in powder form is kasuri methi or dry fenugreek leaves. You can choose to whir everything in the mixie once or twice or leave it as it is. The methi leaves will break down in the gravy by the time we are done. Now it's 3:45. The chickpeas have been soaking for a little over an hour. Here's how they look. Plumped up nicely compared to what they were, dry and hard as a rock. This is good enough for now. I'm using an instant pot for my pindi chole, but you can also use a stovetop pressure cooker in much the same way. Drop the soaked chickpeas in the pot. I'm going to put all the whole spices in a muslin sachet or potli. This way I will get all the flavors without having to bite into a piece of cinnamon, for instance. The two unusual ingredients that go in are the tea leaves and the dried amla or Indian gooseberry. Both are added to give the chole a dark color. Pindi chole are almost blackish in color. The amla also adds some tartness to the gravy. Tie the potli and drop it into the pot. The other ingredients I'm going to add are ginger, green chilies and salt. I like to add the ginger and green chilies while the chana is cooking to allow it to absorb all the flavors early on. If you're looking for a milder version, skip the green chili at this point. And last of all, add the water. Now I'm going to set the pot to pressure cook for about 30 minutes and let the pressure release naturally. The same with the stovetop pressure cooker. Cook for 30 minutes after the pressure builds up or after the first whistle. If you have soaked chana the night before, you must not cook it for 30 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes is probably sufficient for you.
I've prepped all my fixings and I still have 30 minutes before the chana is out of the instant pot. In the meanwhile, if you are enjoying this video, do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos. I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'll join you in the kitchen shortly.
The time now is 4:45. Let us open the pot and check out the cooked chole. They are quite dark in color and so is the cooking liquid. The chole is cooked quite well. I still have about 30 minutes of slow cooking to finish the dish. It should take care of the last bit of cooking. I think we are in good shape right now. I'm going to take out about 2.5 tablespoons of chickpeas. I'll use them to thicken the gravy. Remember, we have no gravy thickeners, no onions, no tomatoes, nothing. This is essentially a self-saucing gravy. The first thing is to remove the sachet of spices from the pot. It is too hot to do anything about it right now, but in a couple of minutes, I'll squeeze out all the juices from it. And the fibers of ginger. Since I have grated the ginger, there are some fibers lingering in there. And there's a lot of liquid. I must remove some because pindi chole is quite dry. does not have a lot of gravy. I'm going to put the pot on saute mode. Keep the pressure cooker simmering on low heat. And now we can add the chana masala powder. It has all the spices we need. Oops! I forgot to remove the extra liquid before adding the masala. The excess liquid must be removed. Some masala will go with it. Set this cooking liquid aside. It can be used to thin down the gravy at the very end or when reheating the chole. Chole will usually thicken with time. I'm adding some more powder to compensate. Keep this simmering while we temper the green chilies and slivered ginger in oil. Remember, so far we have not added any oil or ghee to this. Heat the oil. Fry the green chilies and ginger until they're crisp. And pour into the pot. Add the juices that were squeezed from the spice potli and discard the debris of the spices. And finally, here are the reserved chickpeas. Squish them and add them to the pot. They are quite easily crushed by hand, as you can see. Soft, but still need a bit more cooking. Close the pot and set it to slow cook for 30 minutes. If you are using a pressure cooker, simmer with the lid on, but not the regulator, for 30 minutes. If your chana is not so soft as this, you can choose to use the pressure cooker again instead of slow cooking, maybe for about 15 minutes this time. This slow cooking process is going to allow the chickpeas to absorb all the flavors and to finish the cooking. This whole process took 15 minutes. It's 5 p.m. now. Time to roast the kulchas. The dough was sitting for about 2 hours. Knead it 3 to 4 times and make a smooth ball. This is a good time to keep an unseasoned cast iron tawa to heat. Back to the dough. Flatten it and divide it into 8 portions like so. Shape each portion into a ball, leaving the joints at the bottom. Before we start rolling, a small bowl of water, some dry flour and 1/4 cup of coriander leaves ready. Dredge the ball in the flour and roll the ball into a circle. I like to keep it slightly thick so that the roasted kulcha is soft and fluffy. Sprinkle with coriander leaves and fix them in by going over with a rolling pin once or twice. Liberally wet the underside of the roti and drop it on the tawa wet side down. The water helps the kulcha to stick to the tawa. You will see why we need that later. When the kulcha starts puffing, flip the pan over and roast the top side directly on the flame. It will not fall because it is firmly stuck to the pan with the water we applied. A non-stick pan will not work for this. Move the pan around to make sure that the kulcha is evenly roasted. This is how it looks. Well roasted, puffed up, but still soft on the inside and not chewy at all. Here is the underside and the top. I'm going to show you one more quickly. It takes about 2 minutes to roast a kulcha, which is plenty of time to roll the next one. You will have to check on the roasting kulcha on and off while rolling. Instead of showing you a repeat of the kulcha rolling process, I thought I should show you how wonderful the bhaturas made with this dough are. Just roll as you would roll kulchas and drop in the hot oil. And you can serve those with the Pindi chole or any chole. This whole process of using an unseasoned pan and roasting the kulcha directly on the flame can be quite cumbersome. If you want, you can roast both sides on the tawa itself, in which case you can use any tawa, it doesn't have to be an unseasoned one. All 8 kulchas have been roasted. It took about 35 minutes to do so. I'll put the timeline in the description box. At this time, the chole are done with their slow cooking. I just have to add a couple more ingredients and let them rest in the pot for a few minutes. Lots of coriander leaves, I am partial to them as you know, and tamarind chutney. Tamarind chutney is tangy and sweet, and a perfect foil for the spicy tartness of the chole. You should be able to find it in stores quite easily. I am using homemade. Mine looks thick because I keep a chutney concentrate on hand for just such occasions. If you can't get the tamarind chutney, you can add some amchur powder and a little bit of sugar or jaggery, or even lemon or lime. Mix it in and bring to a boil and turn off the pot. Let the chole rest for about 5 minutes. Taste and adjust the seasonings. The chole need a little bit of Kashmiri chili powder to add a slightly reddish tinge to the gravy. And some more tamarind chutney. Simmer for a minute and turn off. As you can see, the chole have thickened now. If you would like a loose gravy, add the reserve cooking liquid that we saved earlier. This is fine for me. Transfer the Pindi chole to a serving bowl, and now for the final step. Heat the oil and fry green chilies and ginger until crisp. Turn off the gas and add a little bit of cumin powder. You can add some chili powder too if you like. It does look good, but I think my chole are plenty spicy and don't need any more chili. Pour over the chole and we're all set to go to the table.
Pindi chole are all ready. Since this is high tea, I'm going to serve them with kulcha and some sliced onion and radish like they do in Amritsar. Next, we can watch this video of another popular Indian gravy, my quick and easy paneer butter masala, in the original and vegan version. I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.